Hi everybody. Guess what? While I was just setting this up, I think I found the button to that was preventing the tablet from flipping the image. So now I'm all happy. so so it's Wednesday, and so we haven't done a story in a while. So so I've got my cohorts here. I've got Kiki right there, and you got RC and Milo right there, and the dogs are down here at the moment. So so the story I wanted to tell you was just this. Okay. So I wanted to tell you about my first tortoise. So the one I had before Joey. So I had a well, I used to have guinea pigs, and that's a totally different story. And after I developed a very severe allergy to them. So after the last one died, I had to switch to something else. And since I had already my last two guinea pigs were living, I had moved them into a tortoise box in anticipation for this. I just cleaned it up, and I already had the box. So I went to the local national chain pet store, and I bought what they had, which was they had a red-footed tortoise, and I named her. It looked like it was a girl, a female, and I named her Rosie. So she started out about like this, but she grew fairly quickly. I only had her, I'd say maybe, I don't know, 3 years maybe or so. But she grew quickly. Red-footeds get pretty big, so this is kind of a little lesson on tortoises too. So kind of a story education in one. So red-footeds get kind of, well, not big, but I guess they top out at 20 pounds. So, and I think if I remember correctly, that measures out to be like this. I mean, that's a good size tortoise. They get kind of a waist to them, I guess. So kind of a hourglass figure once they get towards adulthood. So red-footeds are from the jungle area of South America, meaning very wet and humid and hot. And so that's the environment that they're from, that they thrive in. I think you've seen my tortoise enclosure. I have a little electronic hygrometer, thermometer, so it tells the temperature. So I have the heat lamp kind of pointing at it, so I know, but because there's too hot, there's too cold, and then there's the hygrometer that measures humidity. And red-footeds like 60 to 80% humidity, which is fine around here, Minnesota, during the summer. But in the winter, things change. it gets cold outside, and we turn on our furnaces, the forced air furnace, and which dries out the air a lot, and it gets desert dry in here. We've all, you know, static. I remember, you know, and being as a kid, you'd rub your feet on the carpet and then touch somebody and shock them. It's that dry. There are many winter days when I will look at the hygrometer and it's just 2 dashes. It doesn't read anything. It doesn't even read 0. It's just dash dash, and it's like that. It was just so. So at first things went well, but then that started happening. So I went online and trying to find out, well, how do I handle this? And one guy said, what he does is, he said he took he bought a big jug of juice, drank it, of course, rinsed it out, you know, very well, cut the bottom off, but leaving a little bit of a lip, and then laid it on its side in the turtle enclosure, put some, like, dirt, and whatever, and the bottom, on the which is now, you know, with it on its side, which is now the bottom, and then keep water in there. And then that will, you know, as that water evaporates, that will form its own humidity. So I did that. And Rosie, she found that immediately, and she spent a good part of her day sitting in it. And so my job was just to make sure that there was always dirt in there and water. So, and so she grew, and so I measured her once a year, and you know, length and width and weight, and so she had this bottle for, I don't know, maybe a year. I don't remember. And then one day I came home and she was in the bottle, and it's like, okay. And then, but she hadn't eaten her food. And I was like, well, that's weird, you know. So then the next day, cleaned out, I threw all it away. I gave her new food, and she was still in the jug. I came home that afternoon, hadn't eaten her food, still in the jug. And I'm like, you know, repeat, third day, same thing. So finally I thought, well, are you okay? And so I go to pull her out, and that's when I found out that apparently she had grew while she was in the jug and was stuck and could not get out. And of course I felt horrible, and I somehow got her out, but so that was the end of the jug. So I ended up, so I had to find a replacement, and I ended up finding a bucket with a flat bottom as a replacement. Figured, you know, had, you know, room to grow. But she, as time went on, she started not eating her food. You know, she'd go a day or so without eating her food. I struggled with, you know, they need protein. I struggled at trying to find a good protein source. I tried, I bought, super mealworms, like live ones, and, I put 1 or 2 in her food, and the next day they were gone. So I figured, oh, good, she ate them. So I give her a couple more or whatever. And I did that until the container was gone. And then I think a couple months, maybe a month or two later, all of a sudden these big black bugs started showing up in her enclosure, and it's like they're like these beetles, and it's like, what are these? And it's finally, it took me a while to realize that she wasn't eating the mealworms; they were crawling away and turning into beetles. So, so it's like, okay, no more, no more mealworms. That's it. So I finally, went back online, did more research, and I finally found, you can go to the grocery store and get a pouch of cut up chicken. And so I started buying that, and she loved that. Red-footed tortoises are one of the few tortoises that can eat fruit. So I buy, I rotate strawberries and blueberries and raspberries and whatever like that. Well, which she ate, very heartily. But as things started, she stopped eating. She also stopped eating the fruit. And then we started having problems with fruit flies. And it got to the point where my father hung a fly strip right above her enclosure because they were so bad. So then, see, 2014 was the last year that I had her. We were getting ready to go up north. It was July, so we're getting ready to go up north for our, vacation up north. The day we left, I had to move her for some reason, and I picked her up, and there was this thing hanging from her back end, and it was about this long. I had no idea what this was. We're about to leave, and Jen was gonna watch the animals. This was years before they started living here. So I had no idea what this was. Something prolapsing, like, intestine. I mean, I really didn't know what this was. So I called her up. I told her what was happening. I said, I have no idea. Just try to keep it moist or wet, and clean. So she said she'd do the best she could. When we got home, she had her sitting on a paper towel in her enclosure, and so I made an appointment with the vet, and right away brought her in, and the vet takes one look at her and said, well, first of all, this is a male, not a female, and this long thing is the male appendage, and this happens. It's not really supposed to happen, but it does happen. And so after getting over my shock at the sudden change of gender, the vet showed me how she gave me a whole bag full of rubber gloves and told me to get a bottle of mineral oil, and showed me how to push it back. I'm not kidding. Push it back into the turtle's body. I went home, got the mineral oil, and I don't know, sometimes every day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes a few days a week, I'd put a glove on and shove it back in. And then just the, you could tell he just was not doing very well, wasn't eating very well. I mean, it's just, you know. And then September, I end up in the hospital. Not important to the story. And while I was there, I was talking to Mom on the phone, and she said that Rosie had died. The interesting thing about turtles is that turtles die. When turtles die, they die from starting at the head, and then ending at the tail. And there can be hours between the two, depending on the size of the turtle. And then by then, she was already, you know, good 9-10 inches long. I mean, she was, and so like, you know, we die, everything dies all at once, you know, as soon as your heart stops, you're gone. But not the case with them. So Mom said that she had died, but she had first noticed that, like, some holes had formed on her head. So I'm guessing, and like I said, the head died first, and then took a day or so before the tail finally died. Buried her in the side yard by the garage. And so I never got to say goodbye. I came home. I was in the hospital about 10 days. Came home and cleaned up the enclosure. Started doing some research online. Went back to the pet store, and then mid-October, so about 3 weeks later, they had a Russian tortoise for sale, and so that was Joey, and so I bought him. He was on sale, like half off. Russian tortoises are much better. They're from well, obviously, like southern Russia, Iraq, Iran, that whole area. Dry, arid, desert, but there's also some variety. I mean, some, you know, basically land that nothing really much grows, you know, like weeds or whatever like that. So it's nothing lush or, you know, nutritious or anything. And so perfect for the environment here in Minnesota house in the winter. So no fruit, a little bit of vegetable, mainly greens. So no protein. No more bugs. No more worms. So anyway, so that's the story of Rosie, and so yeah. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to say. There's no really big news around here. So, so I have a song video to work on. So, hopefully it will turn out as good as it does in my head. So, if you have, you know, any more further questions or anything to talk about, or, you know, I love commentary. Yes, I got caught up on Mac's videos, so now my next thing is to getting caught up on my comments and replies. Like I promised, this is important to me, so that's next on my list. So, yeah. So, almost 20 minutes. That means I figure my time's up. So, see See you in the comments. See you around. See you Max's. See you later. Bye.